The Celtics took a 2-0 lead over Brooklyn last night as they defeated the Nets 114-107. After receiving a $50,000 fine for his Game 1 behavior, Kyrie pretty quiet with the fans last night. Irving also pretty quiet on the court. He only scored 10 points, 4 for 13 from the field. Shannon, did you like Kyrie's lack of interaction with the fans last night?
Yeah, because this is not who Kyrie is. Skip, Kyrie is not a guy that gets into it with the crowd. I thought the crowd egged him on. They said some things to him that he didn't like, and he responded. Kyrie's faith is a peaceful faith. It's not confrontational. And so for him to go outside of that, to try to engage them, to try to get them riled up in order for them to get him riled up, it was something that I didn't think was going to happen. Now, Skip, I didn't have the sound up, so I didn't even really dawn on me. Like
you missed nothing.
So
nothing.
The fans didn't do anything.
Well, we couldn't hear it.
Okay.
You know, unless you're actually sitting courtside, right, you can't really hear exactly what's being said.
Right. But for whatever reason, Skip, he seemed like he was very subdued. He was very calm in his approach last night. The shots just didn't go in. Skip, is a make-or-miss league. Early on, the shots started falling, and I think that's what got the crowd riled up because they're like, hold on, you was here, you wasn't really doing that for us. And so they got on him, and then he turned around and like, I'm not finna let you guys talk to me like that. I'm still a man at the end of the day. I understand I'm a professional. You guys paid money, but you can't talk to me like that. But I'm glad it didn't get to the level of what it got to on the first Game 1. And so, Skip, no, I'm glad it didn't.
Well, you're glad because you were rooting for Boston and you won 3 cases of Diet Dew off me because Boston prevailed.
You're going to
win
3 cases?
Okay,
3
are
more
you?
cases.
Yep. I don't think you are from this point forward. I learned my lesson on Kevin Durant.
So you done?
I needed a little help from his sidekick. And I wanted to see Kyrie. I anticipated seeing Kyrie in attack mode the way he was in Game 1. I don't need double birds, but I need him to go back verbally occasionally at people in the front row if, in fact, they're going to cross profanity lines against him. And he said, I'm going to come back at you. He vowed to do this after Game 1. I will come back at you verbally with the same energy you attack me verbally, right?
They might have didn't do that to him, though.
Okay. Well, you don't think it escalated last night? Oh, stop it.
Kyrie's a peaceful.
Well, he might be, but those Celtic fans in the first 3 rows aren't.
And his religion requires him to be peaceful, non-confrontational.
Well, he wasn't on Sunday.
Well, you got out of character.
Sunday, the Sabbath, right? Yeah. I don't know.
They push the right buttons on. But Skip, I think sometimes that we do things, and at the time we think we're doing the right thing.
Okay.
And maybe he looked back on us like, you know what? I got to handle myself better.
I always tell you about LeBron. I love him the most when he plays angry. When somebody pushes his button, like somebody did during the bubble days when we didn't have crowds in Cleveland. And some executive said something to him after the third quarter ended.
He missed a shot.
And he just said, okay, watch this. Kyrie in the fourth quarter on Sunday said, watch this. He played angry. He was fueled by the profanity that he had heard all game long, and he scored 18 points in the fourth quarter. He was low energy. He was passive last night. He wasn't passive-aggressive. He was just plain passive.
Well, Skip, the games that, like, when Kyrie was missing games here and there, he was able to string together games. He's kind of struggled putting together back-to-back games since he started to play, having to play every other game. And he's having to play a lot of minutes, Skip. He's playing 41, 42. KD's playing 42, 43 minutes a night.
It was the quietest 41 Kyrie minutes I've ever witnessed. He scored 10 points after he scored 18 in the fourth.
But Skip, if you think about it, Skip, they only had, KD had the most shots, but they were like 17, 12, 11, 13, 14. Nobody took a whole bunch of shots. I mean, they was really a sloppy game because they only got up 75. Well, the Celtics got up 75 shots, and the Nets got up 76. Normally, you're in like the mid-80s, sometimes even 90s.
I'm sorry, but it felt like the crowd won last night. Like they subdued Kyrie. It felt like he was like in no mas mode. Like, okay, you guys do what you want to do. I'll just play passive out here.
Well, I'll save it for what if he was saving it for home?
Well, nobody's going to curse him at home.
That's what I'm saying. He was saving
Let's see what happens in Game 3, guys.
Need it.
All right, I got another question for you. Luka and the Mavs, is he coming back just in time for Dallas to take over that series? Skip and Shannon debate that up next. Came a 17-point deficit earlier in the game. We're now joined by First Things First co-host Chris Broussard. Chris, what's your biggest takeaway from last night?
My biggest takeaway, Jen, was that this was all entirely on Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Period. The others, Seth Curry, as Shaq calls them, the others, Seth Curry, Goran Dragic, Bruce Brown, combined for 57 points. And the others essentially led to the Nets equaling Boston on the backboards, which was a big problem in Game 1. And yet their two superstars didn't deliver. You mentioned KD 0 for 10 in the second half. He and Kyrie 1 for 17 combined in the second half. They get outscored by the other two stars, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, who didn't have great games themselves until crunch time. They outscored KD and Kyrie 17-8 in the fourth quarter. And Peyton Pritchard for the Celtics matched KD and Kyrie combined with 8 fourth quarter points just by himself. And Kyrie, look, Marcus Smart, to me, challenged Kyrie walking in the building. When he walked in the building with a hood, a boxer's robe on that said DPOY, Defensive Player of the Year, that's like a bullseye on your chest where Kyrie should be like, oh, I'm going to show him how good he is defensively. And he locked up Kyrie. And then Kevin Durant is struggling mightily against some physical, what I'll term 90s era defense. He is having trouble dribbling the ball. He's having trouble holding the ball. He's missing shots. And then when he's open, he's hearing footsteps and missing open shots. He's making Grant Williams look like Dennis Rodman in his prime. And Jason Tatum's blocking his shot one-on-one. Like, so on the court, those two aren't getting it done. But then as I'm watching that game, and I bet you guys felt the same way, I'm watching the game, and I'm not a Steve Nash hater like many of people out there. But I'm saying, okay, Nash has to get these guys some easy looks. You know, why can't he get, KD an easy look here or there? And why is KD bringing the ball up court more than Kyrie? Like, I'm looking saying, what adjustments, what is Nash doing? What is he telling him? But even that is on KD and Kyrie because this is what they wanted. They handpicked Steve Nash to be their coach. Yep. In part because Kyrie was like, we don't really need a coach. I mean, we're going to change the way head coaches are viewed because we're going to do our thing. He's not putting his philosophy on us. And in a game last night where they needed a coach to do something, because all the Nets do is ISO, high pick and roll, drive and kick. But that's what Kyrie and KD want. Remember when KD was in Golden State and he was like the last year there, I believe, or the second last, and he's starting to deviate from the pass-heavy offense. He wants to go ISO in the playoffs. Well, here you go. And if you look at all the highlights we were showing, the lowlights, if you will, KD's going one-on-one. Kyrie's going one-on-one. There's nothing creative to get them open looks. But that's what they wanted. They wanted that type of coach, and that's what they have. So when they needed somebody imaginative to just get them an easy look here or there, they don't have it. So this is all on KD and Kyrie right now, them being down 2-0.
So in other words, we're going to hold this like we hold Russ being in L.A. against LeBron. So are we going to hold that Steve Nash is there against KD? That KD put this roster together. All these guys are
Kyrie
here.
is the leader.
No. Best player to play it. Best player to play it.
Kevin went to Brooklyn because Kyrie said, let's go to Brooklyn. Okay.
I agree with you. This is all about KD and Kyrie, but this is not about Kyrie. This is about the best player on the planet going 0 for 10, 4 of 17 after going 9 of 24. This is all
in the second half.
All he had, Chris, for the past two games, if Kevin Durant gives you a C- performance, they're going to go back home up 2-0. All he has to do is give you a C-. I'm not even talking about A or B, C-. And they win these ball games. Now, all of a sudden, he's turning to Russell Westbrook, turning the ball over 6 times a ball game. He can't buy, but he bricking shots looking like Russell. I just need to know that's the best player on the planet. You told me you gave... And what was that stat he read?
No, you told me. He and Kyrie are the most dynamic duo in the history of basketball. You told me that yesterday.
But
I don't know.
How did they play last night? The two most not dynamic offense. Yeah, exactly.
Well, you must have been shocked.
What about that stat? Chris, you got that stat? In the 8 games that KD played after loss, After 8 games, after
Oh, 39, yeah, 38.9. 38.9 points a game, 54%